So process books, we're going to go through the process book template that you'll use the same process book template for each of your projects throughout the semester. So you'll be creating a separate process book for each of our projects, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So when you open up the process book template in InDesign, this is what it looks like. And it starts off, I'm going to open up the window and the pages window. So you can see this. These are all the pages that it's already built into the document. So on the lower part of this window, these are all the existing pages. And the upper part of this window, these are master pages, which is what the document is built with. And so those are all the master pages. We're only going to worry mostly about this first one, and we'll get to that in a moment. First, I want to start with the very first page you see here, our instructions. So these instructions are to walk us through. So we're going to walk through them together. And then once you are creating your process book to hand in to me, these initial instruction pages are going to be deleted because you will not need them for what you're handing in to me. These are just to help you learn how to create a process book. So these are a record of all your preliminary and final work. You want to keep track of all of your work throughout, and I'm going to walk you through a folder structure that I want you to use on your OneDrive folders that we've set up. And we'll talk about that as well. This is an important record of your work habits, your ideation, your thought processes, technical growth, organizational skills, presentation skills, and craft. You want to regularly review your project brief and your materials as you proceed with a project. Sometimes we might forget, what is the project asking us to do in this phase, and refer back to it. Don't believe that you can remember every aspect of every project by heart. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see this a little closer. So the objectives are to learn, effectively demonstrate your working through processes, understand the value of process and practice, develop good listening and note-taking skills, and develop your organizational skills. These process books are what employers want to see when you're interviewing people. They want to see how you think, how you work through a problem and ideation. So being able to show a well-designed process book when you're interviewing for a job or an internship is a great tool for you to have to really show, how did you get to this beautiful final piece? What was your thinking process? This tells them so much more about you as a designer than just seeing your final piece that you've created. Note-taking is really important in this class. I'm going to give you many verbal instructions in class, and in addition to the briefs, of course I write a checklist every week, but when I go through lectures, it's expected for you to take notes. When we do critiques, it's expected for you to keep notes of the feedback you're receiving, not only from me, but from your classmates. Things you're learning, you want to have all of those notes in your process book. So the notes from the lectures, notes from your readings, notes from videos you might be watching, and of course your critiques during your project. All of that note-taking is going to go into this process book. The process books are all organized by section, and so all your notes will go in one section, the notes section. And all of your sketches will go in the sketches section. That would mean your hand-drawn sketches. Once we move into digital roughs, those will go into a digital rough section, and so on and so forth. And I'm going to show you that as well. But make sure you take lots of notes. If you are not a good note taker, now's the time to work on that skill and strengthen that muscle. Make sure that you are taking really thorough notes. The format we're following is you must use this InDesign template that I'm providing. So use the InDesign template. You must include a project brief at the beginning of the book. Include all project work chronologically: in-class notes, written critique notes, rationales, revisions, developments, thumbnails, sketches, computer drawings. Completed project final design must be included at the end, and work must be organized. So step one. So here's the kind of step-by-step. Your folder structure is set up to help keep your images organized. So let's go to the folder structure. Here it is. You've all created a OneDrive folder, right? So above this is your OneDrive folder, and you've shared that folder with me. So we've all created a OneDrive folder. In that OneDrive folder, you're going to create an art. This is for my other class number, so just worry about it. But you're going to create a type class process book folder. Okay, so creating a process book folder. Then you're going to create a project 1 process book folder, because you're going to do one for each project, project 2, project 3, and so on. So this is project 1. This document right here is your process book. So it's going to be your last name, process book 1. You don't have to worry about the number, just your last name, process book 1. And that goes right there. A separate folder here is going to be images. So there's two things there. There's an image folder and the actual InDesign. The image folder is going to have subfolders: notes, research, sketches, roughs, refinements, and final artwork. And this is to keep it very organized. So all of the notes you've taken, you're going to scan them in. If you're writing them by hand, you're going to scan them in with a scanning app and putting them in there in the notes section. Any research you did, you all are chose a city, and you've done research on that city. So all of the research images, you might have collected articles. You put a 25-word list together. Then you created a 5-list hero list. All of that research goes here. Next is sketches. You did 36 sketches, and then you did refinements of those sketches. All of those hand sketches, and you've already scanned them in. You put them in the sketches folder. Right now we're in the roughs phase. We're right here. We did our first set of roughs. We're going to look at those today. So the roughs will go right in here. And then we're going to move into refinements. We're going to chose a direction we're going to move forward in, and we're going to refine it. And that chosen direction refinement will go right here. And then at the end, we're going to have a final artwork folder, and that's going to be the final artwork we're going to hand in for the project. The reason this structure is so important is when you're working in InDesign, it links image files. So if you have files like on your desktop and in a folder over here and a folder over there, and you put them into this process book by linking them, and then let's say you clean up your desktop and put these items that are currently on your desktop in another folder, you're going to open up your InDesign file, and it's not going to know where any of the images are, because the images are linked. And if it doesn't see them in the same place they were when you put them in there, it's going to be telling you, you have a broken link. We can't find the file. That means I can't display the file. That means you can't save it out as a PDF until you find that file and relink it. So being organized when you're working in InDesign is very important, because it works with linked files. So keeping all of your files in a very organized fashion, and when you put them all in these folders, and then when you're working in InDesign, you're just pulling them out of their respective folders, and you never move them out of those folders, you're good, you're golden. You're not going to have any problems. Does anyone have any questions on how to set up your files? Yes.
When you write the folder, the name, the R223, we have to use that, or because
No. That's what I said.
Because CODs, that's the
Your 1104.
Yeah.
You would use your number 1104.
Good.
Yes, and you can use 1104, your number. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, good. Let's keep going. So now we're going to go into the global details master page, and we're going to input the project title and our name. So here, the main thing to know when we're going in InDesign, I'm in the pages palette over here. So I'm in the pages. I get there by going window, and I click on pages, and then this window opens up. You can also use Command F12 if you're on a Mac, and it will come up. Oops, no, I closed it. I didn't mean to do that. Okay, so I'm going to go into the global details, which is the 00 global details. I'm going to double click. When I double click on it, it's a blank page. But if I scroll down, I'm going to see that at the very bottom of the page is a footer. And we're going to input these two things it's asking us to. Insert project title here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go project 1 form, or you can even put, you can call it form and counter form. You can put it airport tag. You know, that's fine. Project 1 airport tag. And then I'm going to put my first name and last name right here. I'm not going to touch the page number. The page number is already set up at 00. It's going to automatically number the pages. It's an auto page number, so I'm not going to touch it. I'm just going to put my name in and my project 1 airport tag. Okay, I'm going to go ahead, and that's all I need to do. Let's go back to our instructions. Step 3, using the type tool, which is the T on our toolbar, that's the T is the type tool. Replace the project brief placeholder text on page 3, absolute page 6. And this should include the overview information from project brief, the PDF provided in class, as well as your own descriptive rationale regarding decisions you've made along the way. Essentially, you want this section to give an overview of your thinking and working process that eventually led you to the final design. And so if we go to that, which is, we're going to go to page 6 down here. Oh, sorry, page 3 down here, apologize. Page 3 down here. And this is the project brief overview. And you can see that you can click on this text with the text tool and it just highlights it. I recommend you write your project brief overview on a Word document, go on to Word and create your project brief. You go through the project brief I've given you and you give us a synopsis of it. This is what the project is about. This is the phases of it. And then this is my design rationale. And this is what I determined to do. And this is what I'm delivering at final. This would be something you would write at the end after you've completed the design, and you can write in your design rationale. Why did you make the choices you made? You know, you chose the city, you chose these typefaces, and this is what you're hoping it communicates in the overall design. Okay. And so then you would just replace that with your Word, your document that you're writing that you've created in Word or another writing program, and then you just copy and paste it in. Okay, so I'm going to go back to our instructions. Again, stop me if anyone has any questions. So does everyone understand how to use the project to replace the brief text in project brief? Step 4, begin placing your images into corresponding section, and you use file and place. So up here, you go up to the tab file, and you go down to where it says, file, and you go down where it says place. When you click on that, it's going to open a window on your computer. So what you want to do is go to your OneDrive folder, and then find your folder, and then find your image folder, and then you're going to start implementing your images, okay? They should all be coming from that OneDrive folder. Everyone needs to be working off the OneDrive. In order for me to access your work when I'm grading, I need everything to be up in the OneDrive. So it's very important to build this folder structure and use the photos on the OneDrive. So when you place a file into InDesign, it does not embed it. It is a linked file back to the original. That is why it is so important to stay organized. All right, any questions about that? Are we all clear on that? Okay, and then finally, we're going to export the process book as a PDF. And I will talk about it again, I'm gonna, when we are all done, when it's all said and done, we're gonna go file, and we're gonna go export. And we're gonna take and turn this into a PDF print. And we're going to make sure that we're putting this into project 1, and in our project 1 folder, and we're going to hit save. And when it's going to bring us this window, we want to make sure that the PDF preset we use is the smallest file size. It's very important. It's the smallest file size. We also want to make sure we hit all pages, and make sure you do not create separate PDF files. We don't want every page a separate PDF. We want to create in all pages. And then we'll hit export when we're ready. But we'll have to get it, all of our images in. We're going to have to delete all of our instruction pages, and we'll go through that. So let me start going through the pieces of the table of contents is the first, and you'll see that there are just zeros here. Once your book is completed, you'll come back here and indicate, okay, what page is my project brief on? Okay, it's on 3. So I'm going to come back here and I'm going to hit 3. My notes are in section, there's project notes. They start here, and this is page 4, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to come back and I'll plug in, and this is at the end, and I'll plug in 4, and you can see they kind of jumped. I have to put another space, make sure they all line up. And you're going to come in and make those changes as you go at the end. So you'll fill in the table of contents numbers here at the end. So then we go into notes, and I'm going to show you now, rather than showing you a blank one, I'm going to show you when that's completed to give you an idea of what this looks like once it's completed. Okay, so here is a completed one, and you can see that it has all of its table of contents numbers filled in. You can see that the number, the project name, project 1, form, counterform, and identity is here. Quinn Stevens, the person's name is here, and the page numbers are working. So they put the actual project brief in. I'm not requiring you to do that. You can just do the synopsis. Hold on, here's theirs. Back it up, back it up. So here's theirs. They basically, this is their synopsis. They have put the objective, the description, the rationale, and the typefaces they used. So this is what that you're going to be doing, this part, the synopsis. You're going to talk about what the project was about, what's the description of it, what's your rationale, what typefaces did you use. Then we're going to go into project notes. So there you can see the student put, and you can put as many pages as you want in. They shrunk theirs down to small and put them in these little grids. You don't have to do that. You can make yours full page size. It's up to you. And then you're just going to add pages for as many pages of notes as you have. This was a design sprint, so they have a few other things that you wouldn't have, but then they've also organized it. They've put like week 2 notes, and so all their notes from week 2 are there. Week 2 readings, they've also included the readings that they did and their notes that they took from the readings. There's their anatomy notes. And then you can see week 3 critiques, week 3 readings, and so on and so forth. They've put all of their notes that they've done. Their critique notes. Here's all the critiques. These are examples from the boards, like the mural boards, and they pop those in with the notes that were given and the things that people liked. And then the research. So this is the research to choose which city. So this student did Chicago, O'Hare. And so they did a mind map to kind of decide what were their 5 words. They did theirs as mind maps. Here's their final research for Chicago. There are 5 adjectives that they used. Here is some more research on colors that they were thinking about for Chicago, imagery of Chicago. Here's luggage tag examples. I have some that I've given you, and they've gone and found some more. thumbnail sketches. So these were the initial sketches, just like you guys did. Midpoint reflection. So we do reflections throughout our projects, and this is the week you would be doing your midpoint reflection. We are right now in the middle of our assignment. So this is the week you'll write your midpoint reflection. And what this is it's saying where you're at in the project, and you're reflecting on what you've decided. So you can see for this student, they wrote, it's our job to choose an airport and redesign 3 letters that represent the specific airport. The letters must be visually represented. I chose to do Chicago, ORD. I knew I wanted something with the architecture, lake, and transportation. So they're putting their 5 words in. And then they say, based off those words, I decided to use a sans serif font, which would be the best. Started sketching and taking advantage of the design process. After watching the videos in class about the design process, I feel more comfortable doing it for my own work. I created many designs and tried to manipulate different areas of type. After receiving feedback from my classmates and peers, I've decided to focus on creating a more architectural design and a design that represents the loop in Chicago. I'm still unsure about what my final design will be, but I have a few ideas and I'm ready to transfer my work into a digital rough. So usually in every project, right after the sketching stage is usually the midpoint reflection and kind of where did you get at your sketches, and you're now about ready to go onto your digital rough. So this would be the week for you all. And again, I would write this in a Word program like Microsoft Word, and then just copy and paste it into this format. InDesign really isn't a Word, it doesn't have all the features of all the spell checks. I mean, it has spell check, but I mean, you're just going to have more features in Word than you do in InDesign to actually write. So I would write it in Word and then just copy and paste it into InDesign. We then go into the digital roughs. If at any point you guys have questions, feel free to stop me. So here you can see these are the digital roughs, and they've indicated what typeface they're looking at for their design under each one. Then I'm going into refinements. You can see we started adding the names of the airport underneath. So these are kind of when they start adding the names. And then as we get to the end, we start applying it onto the luggage tag. And applying color. So the finals are the last step. And so here they're showing the final, come on, stop. Sorry, it's so jerking around like that. Here is the final airport code by itself. And then here it is on the luggage tag. And then there's a final reflection at the end of the project talking about, where kind of picking up where they left off. So they went into the digital roughs. What are all the things that they tried? Then why did they choose the colors they chose, and the development of their final airport tag, and how they feel about the overall project. Do you feel good about it? Do you feel like what did you learn from this project? What are you taking away from this as you move on to the next? Okay, does anyone have any questions? So all of these pages are here in the design already built in, but you're going to notice there's only one page. So a couple things I want to just point out. So when you get here to project notes, you're going to see there's only one page. You're going to need to add more pages because you're going to have more than one page of notes. And the way you do that is you have this right here, notes. It's 4 notes applied. And so I go up here to the master pages, and I'm going to add another page. Hold on. I'm going to select where I'm going to add it. And I'm going to create a new page. There we go. I want to be selecting it here in where I want it. And so that you see this little 4 on here, so it's telling me it's a notes page. The 4 coordinates to the type of master page it is, and that means it's just a blank page. We also have pages that have little grids on them, and here they are. This is the thumbnail sketches, and there is a page with, so you can kind of grid and put your drawings in these gridded spaces. If you don't want to use this gridded page, you don't have to. You can just use the blank for notes page. So if you're here in the grid, you're like, I don't need the grid element. You can just change out that for a notes, and it just takes the grid off. And then again, you just select this page here, and then you add as many pages as you need. And if you don't want the grids, you can select them and just choose notes if you don't want the grid. And it'll just turn those. I can switch those to notes. I think it's gonna let me. Maybe I can just do one at a time. Click and drag. Maybe I have to click and drag. Yeah, you have to click and drag to bring it down and just change them. And then you'll see they take the grid off. So, but sometimes people really like the grid. It makes it easier. For your reflections, you'll see your midpoint reflections have the placeholder text there. So again, you just use the type tool, select the text, copy and paste your text in. Okay, any questions on? Is anyone following along with me, looking at the template in InDesign?
You have like a filled out example on Behance that we could look at or something?
On Behance? Well, I can put the sample up on our Blackboard.
Okay.
Would that be helpful?
Yeah, that'd be helpful.
Yeah, I can put this PDF of this student sample up on Blackboard and you can look at it.
And then the airport tags, we're just supposed to use the templates you gave us?
Yes.
Okay.
And we'll go through that when we get closer to using them. We'll walk through how to use those templates when we get there.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not making you, all you're doing is choosing colors and putting your logo into the tag template. You don't have to start from scratch by any means. Okay. Good questions. Any other questions? The other thing I'd like, you can also add at the beginning here. So when we're going to, we're ready, we've got everything in our book here. We just select these intro 4 pages that are giving you how to do that. And you can just select them at the top here and hit the garbage can down here and delete them. And that allows you, then your first thing is the table of contents. You can go ahead and add in front of that, a new page, actually not a table of contents page, but you can add a, one of the none pages that says none on it as the, in front of, and turn this into just a very basic cover page where you just say project 1, and then, you know, you can put your name on it, you can put the date on it, whatever, and just make like a cover page for it if you like. All right.